expert. I'm Angela Cripps, the MD of the Recruiting Gym, and I'm very pleased to say that today we've got Jon Brooks with us from the Value Advantage, but also our pricing strategist in the gym. Hello, Jon. How are you today?
Hi, Angela. Hi, everyone. Very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, and I can just see that we've gone live on LinkedIn. Yes, doesn't always work.
Even
So if you're on
we're off
LinkedIn,
to
feel
start.
free to put comments or questions into the comment section there. If you're on Crowdcast here, we've got the chat. Feel free to ask Jon any questions. But Meet the Expert is all about giving you sort of half an hour or so of free training every month. Now, this is session 43. So there are 42 other experts that have all shared their expertise as well. So we'll put the link in there into the LinkedIn, but here you can just click the green button and go and get all of those sessions as well. So there's no excuse to not develop yourself or to learn about these things, is there, Jon?
Not at all.
So your title today is the value of recruitment. So just give us a little overview of why you've picked that topic first and foremost.
Yeah, so for people who don't know me, I am a pricing consultant. So I help recruitment leaders with their pricing strategy. But in order to price what we do confidently and well, we need to understand the value that creates for the people buying it. So for our clients. So we don't want to rush in and say, oh, we need to price it this way, or here's a tactical way of pricing something or negotiating something. We need to start by taking a step back and saying, what value are we creating for our clients? Now, on a kind of industry level, I like to ask the question, well, what is the value of recruitment? And I'll talk about this during the session, but I think we can be better and we can be more confident in valuing what we do. And by doing that, that leads on to better pricing, better negotiation, better relationships with clients. So lots of good things, but we have to get that foundational question right. What is the value of recruitment?
Yes. Now, I know we'll probably speak more at the end about it, but I was listening to your new podcast last night with the wonderful Sir Alec Reid, and you really went into quite a few details and his views on all of that as well. So I want to get that plug in. Feel free to put the link in the chat there, but let's talk about what you got planned for today.
Yeah, I'll put the link up there now. That's for Spotify. Don't worry, I will plug it pretty much throughout the show, I think. So no worries there.
That made me go.
Try and avoid it. Good. So yeah, let's kick off though. I won't start with my own podcast. First of all, I mean, hopefully we haven't got anyone who's too young to know who this is. This is Macaulay Culkin looking a little bit scared because he's being left alone. The thing so I run my own business, and the thing that scares me most is pricing my services, and that's my job. I am an expert in pricing services, so I completely get the challenges of putting a price on your services, and it can be very easy to sit in a boardroom strategizing and saying, oh, let's do this, let's do that. That isn't the easy bit. The point of pricing is to sit in front of a client and say, this is the price I want you to pay me for my service. And that is scary. That is a huge ask. It gets the butterflies going. It still gets the butterflies going in my stomach every time I'm doing it. And I like to think I know what I'm doing. So what we need to do is give ourselves as much confidence, as much belief as we can in our prices and why our prices are our prices. Now, quick background to me. Where does my belief come from? So you mentioned Sir Alec Reid. I worked with him for many years at Reid Recruitment. So I saw a lot of great recruiters in that time. I built products and services for recruiters to sell to their clients, which was interesting in itself. What's valuable? What can we create for our clients? But of course, when you create something new, you have to work out how much it costs. So I was privileged to work with a specialist management consultancy who focus on pricing and value. So I learned a huge amount that way. And then 5 years ago, set up my own business, helping recruitment leaders to do the same, put a price on their services. Now, today, I'm going to start by looking at some external opinions on the value of recruitment, because that's really important. What do our clients see in us, in our services? And then we're going to go internal. But let's start by looking at the external view. So what I like to do is, whenever someone publishes a CEO who has a big personal brand, this guy, for example, I flick through their autobiography and I find there's always a chapter that says how important recruitment is to their success. So Richard Branson, in his book, I mean, he's published several, but the main one, there is nothing more important for a business than hiring the right team. So I think that's pretty equivocal.
Yeah, he always said, didn't he, that I'm not the brightest tool in the box. I just make sure that I recruit people around me that are the best and brighter than me.
And that message is repeated again and again. So Steve Jobs did pretty well. The secret to my success is that we've gone to exceptional lengths to hire the best people in the world. So quite different people, Steve Jobs and Richard Branson, but the same theme. Maybe not everyone recognizes this guy. Lovely quote.
Disney.
Very good.
Yeah. No, I use him in my leadership training as a servant lever. Yeah, to give an example. So yeah, love Walt Disney.
Perfect. And the language is very Disney language, obviously. You can dream, create, design, and build the most wonderful place in the world, but it requires people to make the dream a reality. So much more creative, much less business-like in many ways, but he's still realizing people are the most important thing. And again, Disney, Apple, Virgin, all huge brands. I don't think there's any arguing with their success. So at the very top level, incredibly successful CEOs are very clear that hiring, the process of hiring, the process of recruiting is the most important thing for their business to succeed.
Well, and of course, just to share, I just wanted to share a more recent one that I heard. Under Armour, when they started, because they've not been around that long compared to the others, but what they did was just reached out to all of the other firms, approached all their best people and offered them, I think it was 20% more salary, and just took all the best people in the industry. So there you go. They took this on board to the real extreme and were willing to put their money where their mouth is.
I like it. Yeah, and obviously with, again, recently we've seen with the tech growth, massive tech growth, and war for talent on steroids kind of thing. So it's clear, even in the world of AI, the best people are really important. And we need to tell ourselves every day, as recruiters, we are helping these businesses do the most important thing. We are helping them hire. They may be able to hire some people themselves. They often come to recruiters for the most challenging and the most important roles. So it's not even that we're just filling roles. If you ask any of these top leaders, they would say, yeah, hiring is the most important thing you do. So if you sat down as a recruiter with Steve Jobs, you would hope he would say, oh, thank you very much. You've been hugely influential in my success. So we need to believe in that. I think that message, in reality, as recruiters, we often forget that. And the reason is, I mean, there's various reasons, but one reason is certainly that we sit down with a hiring manager. The hiring manager is under pressure. They've probably got a budget, or they're under pressure on price. So we then have a hard negotiation and we feel that we're not valued. And from the hiring manager's perspective, that's great. If they can reduce the fee, brilliant. But clearly the people above them, the people leading their business, believe in the importance of people. So we need to kind of occasionally jump over the hiring manager's beliefs or remind them of how important that is.
Well, I suppose we've got a negative thing happening right now, haven't we, where we've seen the opposite with Boeing, and that they have been cutting costs and cutting personnel and doing it that way, and it's literally life and death in that scenario. So we're seeing so many problems with the planes now. So sorry if you're just about to go on holiday and you're just about to fly, but yeah, some of these things are literally life and death. The NHS as well. We've had Michael Mosley, unfortunately, pass away this week, but he became famous by highlighting the difference in service in the NHS and the fact that when we had great doctors and the impact that had, and he would highlight that, but he'd also highlight a bad situation where the service level wasn't as good because of the people that were supplying it. So we see it all the time. You're right, we don't always relate it to us in the recruitment industry and the impact that we can have by putting the best person forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Great examples. And yeah, I hope there's examples from every industry. So yeah, if you're listening now, think about your industry and find that quote from your industry. Ideally find it from clients of yours, and repeat that back to the people you're negotiating with, and repeat that back to yourself. Give yourself that confidence that, yeah, I'm here, I'm doing something really important. Now let's look at what our clients expect of us. Now, I did warn Angela there was going to be a quiz, so I'm going to put Angela on the spot. But you can play along at home. So if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Crowdcast, try and answer this before Angela in the comments. So
okay, I'm good. I know all the films.
You know the films, good, but that's not the question.
Oh, damn it!
You can have half a point for each film. The question is, what skills, what value do we add? What do clients need from us as recruiters through the medium of characters in Hollywood?
Ooh. So, okay, so I can pick a film and I can pick a detail. So Moneyball, top left. We've got analytics, looking at your data, working out what's working, what's not, and what you've got in your team, and therefore having a diverse team that brings all the skills and all the information can make a winning team. Is that a good one?
Brilliant. 10 out of 10. By the way, we haven't prepped this.
We haven't.
Doing this.
I knew there'd be some film pictures. That was it. I thought I had to guess the films. Okay, let's go to Erin Brockovich then, top right. So again, the communication skills, the ability to build rapport with individuals, as well as her amazing memory to memorize all of the people and all of their issues and their problems and the different cancers and everything that they had, and their telephone numbers for every single one. If you haven't seen the film, you have to watch it. But her ability was to get everyone on board. She was so down to earth and so willing to put herself out there, to the detriment of herself actually and her family, to make sure that those people won and they got what they needed. So as a recruiter, you're in it for both your candidate and your client. You are there to make sure both of them win. They're good.
Very good. I can't see the LinkedIn comments, by the way, but I don't know if anyone's going into this level of detail. 4 more to get, so it's a race. Angela against LinkedIn.
Okay, show me the money. Jerry Maguire, I think that is the moment that he's saying, show me the money. I use this a lot because it's helped me to help you. So this is being able to get a full and complete job description from your client to be able to find them the right people. Because yes, okay, show me the money. We want to make sure that we're getting paid at the end of it. But it was the help me to help you bit that always hits with me and that I use in my training.
Very good.
Are we good? Okay, Shakespeare in Love, bottom right, creativity maybe. This might be around copywriting and being able and marketing and putting yourself out there and creating a storytelling for people so that they can actually see and the emotion comes with the recruitment as well, because you've got to have passion with it. So get creative, get different solutions. That's what we're all about in recruitment as well. So you can't just do ABC. A lot of the time you have to go off piste and work out something a little bit different and do it bespoke.
Exactly.
What did you?
Are you putting off the ones you don't know? How confident
No,
are you?
I know them. So we've got Uma Thurman in Kill Bill. She looks okay. So I'm saying Kill Bill 1. it's the bride at the beginning. Okay. I mean, I'm not advocating attacking everyone with samurai swords, but as a recruiter, I think that determination to achieve your goal, because she had a list, she had a plan, she had all of the people, admittedly, that she wanted to kill. I've been to that restaurant in Japan, by the way, or the one that they mocked it up of, based off. And she made sure that she was systematic, she was logical, she followed a process, she had her plan, she had it written down, and she did not stop until she finished. So recruiters, get some Uma Thurman, the bride, tenacity in there.
Very good. Right, last one.
And then we've got Iron Man. I'm looking at the beard. I'm not sure whether it's 1 or 2. Let's do it from there. So Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man. I mean, yeah, have some money behind you is nice.
I don't think that's a skill set, but yeah, okay.
get some backing. That's the skill set, to be able to get other people to be convinced in you. But we've got the creativity again. We've got the ability to do things for yourself. So if it's not out there, create it yourself. Use technology to your advantage. Wouldn't it be lovely if we could all fly? Not necessarily going to happen, but the tech is the key thing here, isn't it? It's making sure that you are using tech to your advantage, to the positives, which links to one of our other webinars, Revolutionizing Recruitment Practices, hosted by Vanessa Rath and Mikhail Petrucci. So feel free, I'll get the links for that one as well, around how AI and automation can be used for the good of recruitment. I've got a plug in as well.
6 out of 6 and a plug. I love it. Amazing. I did not know how this would go, but you are a film buff and you can connect it to recruitment. Maybe I shouldn't have been that surprised.
Well, Vanessa's just piped up. She heard her name. She's like, yay.
Iron Woman with the tech stack. Yeah, no, really good. My point, you've nailed all of those, by the way.
Okay.
My point here is how much value recruiters are expected to bring. So yeah, clients say, great. So I want you to, write a great job advert, negotiate with clients, track people down, understand the market, within the business and the wider market, and use all the technology in the right way. And again, how much value does that add? That is huge. I can't think of many professions where it's such a varied amount of skills that are expected.
It's 15 jobs in one. I always used to say 10, but I did a post recently and I said, right, what am I missing? And we added another 5 jobs onto it. It's just phenomenal, isn't it? What a recruiter does.
Yeah. Lucky I didn't do 15. That would have gone on for a while, that quiz. So 15 jobs in one. We've got to value what we do. We clearly add value here. I'm ignoring the comments now because people are talking about bananas.
was
That's
going
not
to
going
put
to
a
happen.
heart on Vanessa's comment, but it ended up with a banana. Let me just see. Does it show up? Oh, my banana doesn't show up. That's all right. Just like, what's going on? Okay. Oh, the podcast.
Here's the plug. Yeah. Oh, we've got colors. Yeah, we've got branding overlays. Apologies. So yeah, we've looked externally. Clearly, clients value what we do at some level. We need to keep getting that message across. Now, I also mentioned looking internally. So as I mentioned at the start, I'm really interested in this question: what is the value of recruitment? So what I've done in the last few months is talked to a lot of really interesting recruitment leaders who are doing things differently. And here's just a selection of them. More to come. Angela, live proposition. I want to get you on the podcast as well.
You know I love a podcast.
Yeah. But it's been fascinating to talk to these people. As I say, they're doing recruitment differently. But the value, the belief in the value of recruitment, the belief in their way of doing things, and then the outcomes they're getting are huge. So I wanted to share a few of those today. And to continue the plugging, obviously you can listen to every episode on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. I don't know where anyone else gets podcasts, but
There's
sure.
like 7 platforms ours goes out to. I've got no idea what those other ones are. Apple or Spotify, I'm good.
Yeah, I just press the button and hope. But yeah, so let me talk you through some of the themes that are coming out of this in terms of the value of recruitment. So first of all, I think a phrase that probably drove me to create the podcast, and I hear this from recruiters a lot, from recruitment leaders a lot, is, oh, aren't we all the same? Don't recruiters just all do the same thing? And yeah, clients do that, friends do that, people outside the industry, but that's fine. Like, no one really understands anyone else's industry. But when you're in recruitment, I'm shocked and upset when people are like, oh no, we all just do the same thing. We don't. There are so many different ways of approaching recruitment. It is so valuable, but it can be done in so many different ways, and it needs to be done in so many different ways. Now, through the podcast, talking to these leaders, what was clear that they had found ways to stand out in the way they add value to clients. Now, what was really interesting and hopefully a useful takeaway for you listening to it today is, I mean, this verges on innovation conversations, but they weren't reinventing the wheel. They weren't coming up with a completely new idea. They were taking one or two parts of the classic recruitment process and using their skills, their expertise, their backgrounds, really investing that and investing in those bits, normal parts of the recruitment process, and making them bigger, making them better. And there was almost this snowball effect of they'd start doing something a bit better, that got better results, that would grow, that would improve. So it would just build and build and build. So again, if you are sitting there at the moment thinking, don't I do the same as everyone else? Or how can I do something different? You don't have to come up with a new way of doing things that's never been seen before. You need to think about what value you can add in the current process, invest in it, go big, see if it works, obviously. And when it does, go bigger and bigger and bigger. So Abby, for example, who's on the podcast, well, we're releasing the episode next week. She's actually just launched a subscription service for market insights for the hospitality industry. So she runs a recruitment agency. Fine, that's normal. yeah, and many recruitment agencies offer market insights to their clients. She's ended up taking that further and further and further, to the point where clients are paying just for that for that market insights. So it's taken it far beyond, the classic salary survey, or, oh, I'll bring a few thoughts to the next meeting. They're creating reports. They're gathering data in a really interesting way. So there's huge value in that, to the point that clients are saying, yeah, we see that value. We want to be part of this. We're willing to pay for it. And of course, that supports her, or every other part of the recruitment business, but it really helps her stand out from any other recruiter in that industry.
Well, that's what I took from your podcast with Sir Alec Reed, or one of the things, but that really hit home, and that I didn't know, was the fact that 18% of the company is owned by the charity, and therefore 18% of those profits are going to the charity. And yes, the clients say, I want to be part of that. I want to make sure that, when I'm actually giving to a recruitment company, I'm also giving to charity, if that's part of it. But what I did love was the fact that the employees, the engagement went up considerably when they went to the 18%. You talked about the 1% club, and he was like, yeah, it didn't really work, but 18% really does. And people can see that maybe if they're working a 5-day week, that one of those days they're working for a charity. And I try and get clients of mine to do charity days, and to allocate that as part of sort of extra days off, where people can go and work for a charity of their choice. But every week they're spending a day that's actually helping a charity. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. And even people have taken that further, I mean, or in a different direction. So Leo Hewitt, who's that episode will be published next month. They give, so that's at core 3. They give 3% of their is it profits or revenue? Apologies. Anyway, a big chunk to charity, but they engage their clients in that process. So rather than just saying, "Oh, I'm giving it to our favorite charity," they sit down with the client and say, well, which cause is most important to you? Which again is very consultative, very engaging. So rather than just saying, I'm taking your money and giving it somewhere, putting it somewhere I want, again, he's taken it further, taking it in a slightly different direction, but in a way that, we talk about this on the podcast. He's seen that really change the loyalty of his clients, and it's because they're more engaged. So really powerful. But I think my key message here is, we are different. You can be different, but you don't have to start by coming up with something revolutionary. Just pick something you're good at and invest in it and build on it, and it will go from there.
Love that.
The text in this cartoon hurts my head, so I'm not going to read it. But the another theme is, the people I talk to are thinking about how to work smarter, not harder. Now, because of the people they are, I don't actually know any of them who is working less hard. So the key is, how can they do things smart? And that's been really interesting. I think the key measure here is fill rate. And everyone I think I've spoken to has had a much higher than average fill rate, to the point it can be double the kind of industry average fill rate. And that's huge if you think about it. The efficiency, or the smarter way of working is, right, if you've got 10 jobs, you fill 5 of them. Excellent. If you've got 10 jobs and you're working 10 jobs and you're only filling 2 of them, it's not smart, but also exhausting. They're coming back to the theme. It drains your belief in the value you're creating. you're not succeeding again and again. You're failing 80% of the time.
It's like you're only getting paid for one day of the week, isn't it? And if you are on the 2 and you move it to the 5 by focusing on that, well, you've just increased your revenue by 150%. So why not?
Yeah. Yes, and that's the revenue is so important, but we always don't focus on the revenue. The revenue is the outcome of what you do focus on. So thinking about how to work smart, and there's some great examples in the podcast. The other thing that, or another thing, is creating demand. So on the left, that's a much older film. Angela, do you want to have a go?
Please, sir, can I have some more?
Very good. Oliver. And there's a danger that we're the one asking for roles. We're saying, can I work with you? It's the subservient nature of recruiters some of the time. On the right is people queuing in the middle of the night to buy the latest Apple product.
Do we still get that? Because I know it was always a thing, but is it still happening?
I don't know. It hits the headlines less. But I'm sure there's still some Apple fanboys out there that
or maybe it's a Taylor Swift concert now. They were queuing like 2 days before, weren't they?
Oh yeah, I'm taking that slide out. It's going to be Taylor. Yeah, but I mean, this is a massive tangent, but there's value in the queuing for Taylor Swift, right?
Yeah.
That was part of the experience. There were so many articles about how people love to be there and the atmosphere around the concert. I'm not going to tie that to recruitment right now, but my point is we want to shift to a place where clients see our value and are queuing up to work with us in this analogy. And again, we've, through the conversations I've had, I think the biggest tip from everyone, they've each got their own stories, but I think the biggest theme is probably building trust with clients. So not rushing to get the next role, but actually spending time with the client and building up that trust. And there's various ways you could do that. In fact, you can do that throughout the process, really. But examples include, those market insights or sharing value there. Another really interesting one is a guy in Finland. So runs an agency there focused on the Nordics. And actually, it's another subscription service, not recruitment, but helping his target market with their EVP. So with their employer branding, making them more attractive for candidates to choose them, which is hugely important, as we've talked about. And by having a smaller product, he builds that trust. They get to, those clients get to experience working with him. They trust him on something that's much smaller than choosing a new sales director or whatever. But they've worked with him before. They know what it's like they know how he can help. So when it then comes to recruitment, they're queuing at his door. He's not having to ask for the next role. So some really interesting ideas there. Again, not revolutionary in itself. I think most people advise, or at least offer some advice to their clients on how they can present themselves to clients. But if that's something that's of interest to you, that you've got the skills, why not package that up, create more value, and also build that trust for the long term. I touched on loyalty. This is a slightly morbid image, but it picks up on the idea of loyalty. There's all those stories about dogs who remain loyal to their owners to the grave kind of thing. But that, I think as an industry, we think the default is clients will go anywhere. Yeah, there's no loyalty from a client. Then they don't. We might try and build a relationship with them, but it's a personal relationship. They don't really have a relationship to our service. And again, that's a way we can, if we're going to focus on our value and the value of our services, one of those measures is how often are those clients coming back to us. When they then are coming to us, that takes it to the next level of what commitment are they giving us? So are we talking about exclusivity? Are they paying us a fee up front to work with us? And again, there's some really interesting ways of doing that. Then finally, this slide is the negative of my point. The people I've spoken to are confident in communicating their value. So Angela, you would have heard in the Sir Alec Reed interview, when he launched Reed 60 plus years ago, he launched at a 25% premium. So he was 25% more expensive than his competitors.
What I couldn't believe, though, was that the fee was 1 week's salary. So he went with 1.25 weeks, didn't he? But
yeah,
1 week's salary, that's like 50 tooths.
yeah.
50 tooths of an annual salary, whereas now we're 20%, we're 1/5 of an annual salary as an average. That's just a huge, that's like 10 times more than we were, admittedly 1960. But what happened that it meant that we valued ourselves so much more? We really didn't right at the beginning, did we?
Yeah, true. Well, I don't know if you picked up on it, but he said some years there were like 2 rate rises a year.
We used to do 1.25 at Blue Arrow in the 80s, and again you had big inflation, 15% inflation there, so things were moving quite a lot. But every quarter we'd review the rates, and for a good year they went up every quarter.
But that, the market can take that, but like, we don't need the excuse of inflation to think about our prices. But yeah, the people I talk to have confidence in communicating their value. So one way of measuring that is negotiation. So I ask people, how do you negotiate? What are the challenges of that? And I think in recruitment in general, people find negotiating very hard. The leaders I've spoken to aren't that worried about it because they're confident in their value. They've managed to present their value to their clients. That communication has gone well. So the negotiation, most clients say, yeah, great, I'm happy to pay. The point of this slide is the danger of communicating a lack of value through your prices.
Well, as soon as we see these, we just immediately, all of those sales, we think, well, you just had the price high to start with. It wasn't worth what it was. If you can do it half price, then that's sort of what the price really is. It just demeans it straight away. We don't believe you.
Yeah. So it's low value. And that belief, we've lost trust. So coming back to one of the earlier points, pricing badly can erode trust with a client, which affects so much of what else we do. What is interesting, so I've kind of put these people I've spoken to on a pedestal. What I was surprised they didn't do is I kind of tee them up with the chance to say, come on, give me an example where you've added value to a client. And they're a bit shy about doing that. So, and I'm still kind of working out why they do that, but they're not boasting about that. They're not saying, oh, we do this and this. I think it's a quiet confidence. But clearly clients pick up on that. That is well communicated, and you then see the outcomes in the successes they have and the relationships they have with their clients. Good. That's the end of my eclectic slides. No more quizzes for Angela.
I love a quiz. I'm so competitive as well. Oh, I definitely want to do that. I think I'm going to nick that idea as well, and put that into a couple of my presentations, getting people to just think laterally. Yeah, what does it mean to you? But as long as we can get the things. But I do that with the leadership ones where Walt Disney comes up, and I've got Richard Branson as a charismatic leader actually. So we look at the different leadership types and bring up people that will be relevant to those. Who did I have as the first one? But I've changed it to Trump now.
Right.
The fact that he says he wants to be a dictator. He's
Yeah.
agreed, even if it's just for the first day. Well, if you're a dictator for the first day, that's it then. You've taken over. You're going to set all of the terms that are going to be for you. Anyway, I won't get onto politics. Right. If you've got any questions, you've got 1 minute or so to get those into Jon. But thank you for that. So I do want, we sort of threaded it through a little bit as well, but I do want you to share about your podcast. And tell us why you chose podcast as a platform, first of all, because I'm always interested in that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely thought the world does not need another podcast. There are. You love a podcast. I mean, Vanessa, if she's still on, she wound me up in the comments on LinkedIn. She was like, "Oh, I'll." Because she lives on a beach in South Africa. She was like, "Yeah, I'll go for a walk on the beach and listen to your podcast." I was like,
Yeah.
She always gets one over on us. Yeah, there are a lot of great recruitment podcasts. But I was finding, as I said, I'm obsessed with this question: what is the value of recruitment? That is the big picture, and I wasn't hearing those answers in the podcasts that are out there. So there's some great podcasts: how you made it, how you started out, the challenges you had working with founders, or like so much good stuff. I've learned a huge amount. I can't imagine going back to a time without podcasts and without that kind of openness. But yeah, I wasn't hearing what I wanted to hear, which is big picture. Why are we here? Why are we recruiters? Why do clients work with us? And so that big kind of why question. Yeah, and then spoke to a few people, and they were interesting people, and they said, yeah, be really keen to come on and talk about that. So I thought, well, it's an opportunity for me and for anyone who listens.
Definitely. And same with us with our hiring happenings. Ours was the detail, ours was the nitty gritty, doing a pestle analysis and missing out on all of those elements of the big picture, but then bringing it down to there. So again, there's so much out there for people. If you want to be good at recruitment, then listening to people like Jon, and obviously his guests of people that have been there. So Alec Reed, I mean, he's 90. And he sounded so sharp on that, 90 years old, and he's remembering details from 1960 with real specifics, including getting a board and sticking it on top of his car to drive around and painting Reed on it so that people knew when he first started. I just thought, oh, that's amazing. So there's so much to learn from people like that. Hence why we do Meet the Expert, and we share that. And a big shout out to Job Adder, who sponsor Meet the Expert. Thank you for bringing this so that we can do this every month, because again, without our sponsors, it makes it difficult to be able to carry on. So thank you. And again, Jon, brilliant for sharing all of that. This will be here, so people can always come here. I think it stays on LinkedIn Live for about 3 months. So if you do want all of the information, make sure you come over to Crowdcast, click that link and join up here, or click on the link to go into the sessions. So the Crowdcast has got the sessions from last September when they moved to version 2. But if you want all 43, then join us in the recruiting gym. There's 8 free courses. So you can join up on one. We'll give you the others and allocate them to your account. And there's 100 other courses that you can have a look around, including 2 of Jon's. So pricing strategies and win-win negotiation is in there as short courses as well. So feel free to buy them if you wish. Love it. We did it. We got all the plugs in that we needed. Thank you, Jon. We're back next month with Dries de Costa, looking at AI and how that's revolutionizing recruitment. And of course, we've got Vanessa's, I've put the link in there, for revolutionizing recruitment practices coming in August. Love it. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.